What's up gamers, Cryptico here, and welcome back to Lowering the Mark, a show where I analyze the current and former world records of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe time trial runs to see how these records get faster over time. We'll look at elements such as the loadout, racing lines, and mushroom usage to better understand what's bringing these times down. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit the notification bell to be the first to know when my videos go live. For today's episode, we're officially closing out the Special Cup by taking a look at one of its toughest time trials to date, Rainbow Road at 150cc. On May 4th, 2017, the world record for this run was set at 2 minutes, 1.915 seconds by the Japanese player Yui Funami. Fast forward over 4 years later to July 20th, 2021, and the record was brought down to 1 minute, 59.314 seconds by the Spanish player Alberto. That's a 2.6 second improvement between records and a 2.1% faster time. Our former world record holder Funami has broken 33 world records on this track only and has spent over 500 days holding at least one world record. Our current world record holder needs no introduction, but Alberto has broken nearly 700 world records across 57 unique runs and has spent over 1,300 days holding at least one of his now 34 current world records. At pre-release, the world record sat just above 205, and within the first few days after release, it had already gotten under 202, mostly thanks to Funami. Shortly after that, all sorts of players were chipping mere hundredths of a second off the record, and it slowly got closer and closer to 2 minutes. SuperFX and Kai each had their own long-lasting records with a 201.1, but it would be French player Ishak's achievement to be the first person under 201. After bringing it down by another tenth, Japan came back in full force as Rocky and Funami made up the next 17 world records on this course and collectively brought it down to 200.1. Another second break was on the horizon, and in true Alberto fashion, he would be the first one to go under 2 minutes. Our army stepped in and challenged him for a brief moment, but then he came back and fended off the rest of his competition to take the world record all the way down to 159.3. In total, the record was broken 103 times by 18 different players. These loadouts are more evenly matched than they might seem. Funami goes with a combo of Dry Bowser driving the W25 with the rollers and the Cloud Glider. Alberto goes with the Baby Buggy special consisting of Baby Daisy driving the Biddy Buggy with the Azure rollers and the Paper Glider. Apart from the obvious gaps in top speed and handling, where either player holds an advantage, we see that Alberto leads by multiple points in both the acceleration and mini turbo stats. He's got that max mini turbo stat, which means he's fixing to grab a lot of them here and gain tons of extra boost thanks to them being longer lasting than Funami's. Everyone seems to hate on 8 Deluxe's Rainbow Road for seemingly no reason. There really isn't anything wrong with the course, so I don't get why people say it's one of the worst Rainbow Roads of all time. There's a lot of twists and turns, basically no barriers once you get off the space station, and plenty of opportunities to exact revenge on your friends. It's also an amazing time trial course because of how satisfying it is to watch tons of complex strats create one beautiful run. Let's take a look. Funami hits the rocket start out of the gate and immediately starts a 3 mini turbo chain. The first two are normal, and the third one is this ultra mini turbo around this hairpin turn. After that, he'll grab a super mini turbo around this next turn before going off the glider ramp. Alberto uses his first mushroom right out of the gate and begins a 4 mini turbo chain, 3 of which are normal mini turbos he's somehow able to fit in before the hairpin. He too will end this chain on an ultra mini turbo, but then starts charging this prolonged ultra mini turbo which he'll release off the glider. Right off the bat, we have similar mini turbo arrangements from both racers, but Alberto comes out ahead because he used his first mushroom to start the race. His lead already sits at 0.4 of a second going into S2. After tricking off the glider, Funami flies very delicately so he can grab these coins in the air and on the ground. After another jump boost, he'll use his first mushroom to cut out the conveyor belt turns en route to the cannon. Once he lands on these dueling paths on the other side, he'll start his drift into S3. Alberto carries that ultra mini turbo off the glider and uses it to ride across the gap. Once he lands on the space station, he'll grab the jump boost and also use a mushroom to cut out this turn before heading into the cannon. Once he lands on the other side, it's the same drift around the turn to start S3. Alberto has now used 2 mushrooms on lap 1, so it makes sense that he's in the lead, but we can't overlook the longer boosts he's getting from those max mini turbos. These also contribute a great deal to his lead, which now sits at just under a second going into S3. After getting this super mini turbo, Funami heads straight down this path, and before it turns off, he starts to drift off the platform entirely to land on the other platform below, carrying a super mini turbo all the way down. After that, he chains a normal mini turbo, then takes the final turn of this lap incredibly tight by brake drifting for the ultra mini turbo. He'll ride out all the way to the end of lap 1. Alberto goes for the somewhat risky ultra mini turbo around this turn and promptly follows that up with this same drift off the ledge, but he grabs another super mini turbo before he lands. After which, he chains a super mini turbo down this backstretch and closes out the lap with a tight ultra mini turbo, followed by one more normal one just before crossing the finish line. As if this run couldn't get any more complex, Alberto shows up and grabs back-to-back mini turbos for a phenomenal speed boost through S3. He comes across the line now over 1.1 seconds ahead of Funami after lap 1. Into lap 2, Funami starts the same mini turbo chain we saw on lap 1. He'll grab the two normal ones before taking the hairpin on a tighter line for that ultra mini turbo, after which he'll grab a quick super mini turbo before going off the glider. Alberto adjusts his mini turbo chain by grabbing this super mini turbo at the start of lap 2 and then a normal one right after. He too takes the hairpin tighter and grabs the ultra mini turbo. He then follows that up with another prolonged ultra mini turbo he'll carry off the glider ramp. Already into lap 2, we see some adjustments from both racers, all in the name of going faster, and Alberto comes out ahead by 1.3 seconds at the end of S1. Nothing changes for Funami through S2. He tricks off the glider, grabs the jump boost when he lands, then uses his second mushroom to cut out this conveyor belt turn. After hitting the zipper, he fast gliders onto the cannon, I think, and lands on the other side where he'll start his next drift into S3. Alberto actually uses motion glider strats here, so let's take a closer look at that. As he's suspended in the air, he turns on motion controls and whips his controller in such a way that he can quickly adjust his line mid-air. You can see he positions himself perfectly to land at the leftmost part of the ramp, which happens to be the most direct motion glider line one can take. After that, he hits the jump boost and drifts around the green conveyor belt and even grabs an additional jump boost before fast glidering into the cannon to make his way to the other side where he starts his drift into S3. There's a lot to unpack from that section, and it definitely seemed like it was the faster route, but Funami actually gained some ground on Alberto, but only because he used a mushroom to cut out this turn. In any case, Alberto remains ahead by over 1.1 seconds at the end of S2. One mini turbo later, we see both racers go for this drift off the platform. Let's see where each of them land. Thanks to the ultra mini turbo he just picked up, Alberto was essentially able to carry some of that speed off the ledge and fall a little further up the course. And he even grabbed another ultra mini turbo after charging it most of it in the air. After both racers land, they grab either a normal or a super mini turbo before brake drifting heavily around the last turn for the ultra mini turbo and make their way to the finish line to close out lap 2. Any lead Alberto lost in S2, he gained back in S3 pretty easily thanks to the back-to-back ultra mini turbos. His lead now sits at 1.6 seconds after outsplitting Funami's lap 2 by half a second, all without using a mushroom. S1 on lap 3 for both racers is just a reflection of their lap 2, and it can be summed up as one long mini turbo chain that consists of all types before making it to the glider. Alberto's lead now sits at 1.7 seconds. Funami hits a trick off the glider and flies on down to the space station for one last mushroom cut before hitting the zippers and entering the cannon to the dueling platforms yet again. Alberto motion gliders his way across this gap before grabbing another jump boost and this time going for that same shortcut, all before going into the cannon and making it to the other side. The lead for Alberto made a huge jump up to 2 seconds going into the final section. Once again, both racers grabbed their mini turbo before drifting off this platform and falling to the other one. After another mini turbo down the backstretch, both racers pick up their tight ultra mini turbo around the last turn to close the race out. Yes, Alberto literally crashes Baby Daisy's cart into a wall, but luckily for him, the timer stops even when you hit this particular part of the wall. In doing so, he came across the line and posted a time that was a hair over 2.6 seconds faster than Funami's former world record. So by grabbing a grand total of 15 max ultra mini turbos and taking advantage of the magic that is motion glider, Alberto was able to punctuate his 5th consecutive world record on this course for the low 0.3 that seemed impossible after we barely saw a sub 2-minute run almost 2 years ago today. Dropping 6 more tenths off a minute break like that is pretty wild in the grand scheme of things. I got the chance to speak with him a little bit about it, so let's hear what Alberto had to say about this world record. What was going through your mind when you set this world record?
I thought the run was going to be a 0.2, so I was a little bit disappointed when I saw this time come up.
Time trialing in general can get pretty nerve-wracking at times, Is Rainbow Road on a different level in terms of how much it makes your heart race?
I don't get any more nervous on Rainbow Road than I do on any other track.
Is this the final form of Rainbow Road, or do you believe the world record can get any faster?
I know it can get faster. A .1 is definitely possible here.
Thanks for stopping by for a quick chat. Hope to see you again soon. Not gonna lie, I did not expect to see what I saw when I took a look at these best known splits. I was out here thinking a .2 would barely be possible, but with 159.1 being the best known sometime, that means there's still a fair bit of improvement that can be made to this course. What's equally as surprising is the fact that Alberto doesn't own all 3 best known laps, 2 of which belong to Rocoa, and all of them have around 3 frames on the world record splits. Alberto could improve his closing lap the most and his middle one the least. Even if it's by around half a tenth of a second, there are precious frames just waiting to be knocked off. By whom is the only question that remains. The worldwide top 10 consists of 6 national and 4 continental record holders. At the top is Alberto, a few tenths back in second is Asian record holder Rocoa, and in third is Japanese player Amond. 4th place belongs to Japanese number 3 Shiera Nui, and 5th through 7th place share just over 2/100ths of a second in separation. That consists of German record holder Mana, Kenyute, and Army. Rounding out the 159s is American record holder Sarah, and rounding out the top 10 are Panda and Keed. It's a pretty stacked leaderboard with tons of talent capable of going even faster, but with Alberto's dominance on this track over a span of 2 years now, it's hard to pick anyone else to dethrone him, which means this record is going to stand for quite some time. That's all for episode 65. Hope you found it interesting. I just want to remind everyone that next week there won't be a new episode because I'll be on vacation this week. But just hang in there until February 21st and I promise there will be a new video out then. If you enjoyed this video, like and share it with your friends and comment on which course you'd like me to analyze next. Don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you guys in the next one.